Waiting for YouTube always takes a while. We're normally live, but it takes me a while to say. We're just on 2 platforms today, DLive and YouTube. Man, YouTube takes so long. DLive was like within 5 seconds, and YouTube still says sending data. There we go. So yo, what is up? This is your host, SuperSight, here with not another video, but a stream. Could have done a video, but I find it easier to do streams. And it is with sadness that I announce that Everdale has been killed. So, yeah, where do I start? I was going to make this a 2-part, but there's many points I'm going to cover in that. I don't think I'll be doing any gameplay. Well, I mean, I can't. No gameplay of Everdale. Many points I'm going to make. I was going to do a 2-part stream, so I was going to do like the first hour is about Everdale, and the second half I was going to play Squad Busters. But then I thought I'll just split it up and do it separately, and I may or may not do Squad Busters tonight. I've been meaning to do Squad Busters for a while, but didn't end up doing that. Even though I had quit, but then I started playing it again, but then I stopped not long after, and the game doesn't really excite me. It's not like, oh, I need to be playing it and that. It's sort of like, there's just so many other things in life that I do and a lot of people do. But yeah, Everdale has been killed, and I find that quite sad. I do. So we'll just stick to covering Everdale this stream. I mean, I'll talk about many other things, including Squad Busters, but the main focus of this stream is going to be Everdale, and you're welcome to give your thoughts on that. We've got 2 watching on YouTube, 1 watching on DLive. I'm just trying to think. There's many things I'm going to go through, and I've written a list. But yeah, so just trying to decide the 4 on YouTube. Wow. Feel free to chat. I haven't received any chats yet, so yeah, feel free to put some chat in the chat. Yeah, it's sort of crazy that it's gone. Now, I normally do these videos sort of as an end. You're welcome to the stream. Tano, Cindy, I really liked Everdale. I did also. Welcome, Lynn. So it's sad. I was going to do this stream yesterday. But ended up reading a telecommunications report on the New Zealand telecommunication situation. So didn't end up doing it yesterday, although I wish I had. But then I've got the same points that I'm going to bring up today. So it was announced just yesterday at, I'm not sure exactly what time, but it was like 1 a.m. It was like the 19th of September, New Zealand Standard Time, at like 1 a.m. on the, it was like 12 something, on the, I'm not sure how long it took them to get to it, on the, because there's 2 Everdale servers, on the, like on the official one, per se. So they covered 7 watching here, wow. Be in and out taking care of grandkids, Hokey Oakland. And Trapaizo Mike, welcome to the stream, man. 7 people. This is more than I normally get, so it's quite cool. Are you long-term Everdale players, and you're like, oh, he's doing a stream on it? I'm not sure if there'll be anyone else that covers the end of it. I mean, no, well, I mean, I did cover the end of it, but now the official end of it as well. Hopefully, someone else does something. A few people, but we'll see. I keep losing my train of thought. Where were we? Oh yeah, the time in that. But shout out to one of the viewers in my Discord server, because there was the one that I created in that, and thank you to Lynn and Grey Orange for helping manage that. And for all the people that were part of that, we had about 1,000. It's now down to about 870 or something. So I did a final message, and I'll show you that one too. And yeah, we had a lot of people in that one, and it was a viewer in that server that spotted it and announced it in the general chat before the actual official server. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's about 6 or 7 news article companies, media that covered it, which is that's pretty cool. I mean, they are just sort of like gaming ones, not like national ones on politics and major events and that, but it's still cool that there is journalism, I think, in the gaming industry. And also then it's really interesting to see, okay, well, who was the first one to break the story? That I think that's cool. And there's a list of it, like, we'll go through them and we'll see what time they sent they posted it, and then they shouldn't have got that information wrong. It was basically an announcement from Metacore that then they should have just relayed basically and added context if they knew more things that they could add, and to see like, oh, which one was first, because journalism matters in many fields. So yeah, and Gareet, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream for the final send off for Everdale. It's sort of sad because this one, I don't know, it's because I normally traditionally, and with the exception of Heyday Pop, which was I was banned at that time, but with the games that I cover that are key, like Rush Wars and that, I then do a final send off one, which I already sort of did that with this one. But then now it's sort of like a second one because then they just said, oh, it was still under development now. But then I haven't got any gameplay, so it's kind of odd just sort of sitting here and talking. It's like, I wish I'd just show you, oh, this is the clan and this is. I mean, I could watch back the last one in the background. That would have been a good idea, but then it would have had like me over me. Although if I just did this section over there, that actually would have been quite cool. Anyway, we didn't do that. So yeah. You could like even with mobile gaming, you could like have an epic gaming chair and all that kind of stuff because you're normally sitting when you're doing that and set up like a studio. There's some cool studios around. Yeah, some cool studios. I mean, Bill O'Reilly is a studio. Well, I don't know if you call it a studio. I think so. Fox News studio, CNN studio, Infowars studio. There's a lot of studios around, and they look quite cool. I'm afraid that high quality mobile games will forever be very rare. It seems like it. And I would say, I would argue they're becoming rarer, which is weird because there's so many companies making them. But now, I don't know, in the last 2 years, I think I don't know, if you use the word predatory monetization tactics or whatnot, I at least, find them, reprehensible. It's quite a strong word. I'm like, ugh, I just don't like it at all. The monetization tactics which have come in now, which is really annoying. And in my view, sort of ruins the game a bit. But I'm afraid that high quality mobile and another problem with that is it's hard to make them profitable in that, which then the counter argument could be, well, that's why all these predatory gaming monetization tactics have come in. Manipulative. That's a better word to use. Manipulative, I think, because I think they are manipulative. So, so manipulative game. But then the thing is, like, they've been added to games that didn't need those anyway, like Clash of Clans and Heyday. Well, I don't know if they've been added to those two games. I think they have. They've certainly been added to other Supercell games like Squad Busters. But I haven't been seeing Squad Busters ads on Twitter anymore. That's just been cut. But I keep seeing, I think it's John Cena promoting Brawl Stars now. Lots of those ads on Twitter. I'm glad they're advertising on Twitter. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of ads, but if you're gonna advertise, yeah, Twitter. Yeah, go Twitter, go Elon. Okay, so yeah, they're finally, and I'll show you the announcement in that. And there's a whole host of things I'm going to go through. But yeah, I find it really sad. I had a lot of hope for the game. It was a really cool game and it had a lot of potential. And it was about 2 months ago. I asked the company. I sent the company an email saying, look, what's the deal with it? Is it still under development? And they said or implied, yeah, we're still working on it, still under development. And now it's been killed, which makes me highly suspicious that it was still under development 2 months ago. Like, I really doubt that. Like, on one hand, it's like, I bet that it's like, how long were they sitting on this announcement? But on the other hand, it's like, well, there'd be no need for them to sit on it for ages. Like, if they decided, especially since the game's not even live, they're not getting any benefit from people playing it, so it doesn't really matter whether they delay the announcement a month or two or not. But at the same time, there's no way that, like, within the, 24 hours or 48 hours before, well, it's possible. I don't think so, though. I don't think it was the case, but, it was in the last, as of right now, 72 hours that they're like, okay, we'll kill it. Probably they'd decided a week or potentially months in advance. Although, but then there's they might have like a year ago thought, yeah, this game's probably not going to make it, but we'll just keep looking into it. But I'm really interested, how many resources did they invest into this, and for how long? Did they prototype heaps of versions? Did they close beta test them, or what? Because it just seems crazy that they sort of just announced, yeah, we've killed it. We couldn't make it work. It's like, really? It was already working. Like, and you had 2 years to develop it. It's like, and the game technically should be at least 4 years old by now. In terms of development, because it came out in 2020 under Valleys and Villages, and that for a year from 2020 to 2021, and then 2021, then Everdale came out, so 2021 to 2022. There was an overlap when they were both out, which was crazy. And then 2022 it was killed, and then in January 2023, then Metacore got the rights of Supercell, and then there's been about 2 years of development, or I don't know. Because I just think like they could have added other features to make it work. Because they say like, well, it wasn't profitable. It's like, it was such a good game. Like, you totally, I think they totally could have added other features. Like, in its current form, sure, maybe it might not have been profitable. That's why you had 2 years to research this and figure out how to make it profitable. And I simply don't believe that it just wasn't, yeah, nah, it's not going to be a profitable game. I seriously don't believe that. And Matthew Moo, welcome to the stream, and I haven't spent money on mobile games in over a year now. And it's not sort of like a unprincipled stand against them. I mean, on one hand, yeah, I think it's, well, I don't know. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't just want to be spending lots of money on these games and that. On the other hand, I also recognize they need money to survive, but then that's why I'm willing to do it. But I haven't spent money in over a year. I'd honestly pay like a monthly pass or whatnot in the game of $10 every month. That's how, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I genuinely would. I thought it was that good a game. And if you had, let's say, well, what's a good number to make it nice and round? $10. Well, yeah, if you had 10 million players, there's a lot of players. Even just a million. Okay, you had 1 million players. That's still, yeah, okay, you have 1 million players paying $10 a month. That's $10 million a month. And that definitely should be profitable, even though they pay the staff like really high salaries, really high. I still think that'd be profitable at 10 million a month. You know, I think this could have been done, and so it's so disappointing to see it gone after all this time, and it's sort of like, I don't know. I really would love to know what they did in this over a year and a half. They had over a year and a half. Like, what did they do when they were like, because, you know, for all we know, they might have just sort of like got it and sort of like looked at some of the data for a little bit, like a couple of days or maybe like 2 hours, and being like, and then just like, and then after a year and a half being like, yeah, nah, we're not going to do, I don't know. They wouldn't have done that. They'd just be silly. Like, I don't know, but it just, how in-depth did they go into this game, and how can we make it profitable, and how can we change it, how can we add updates and that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very skeptical that it just really, it just wasn't profitable. Dude, it was one of the best games I ever played, and I would argue it was Supercell's last best game, assuming there's none that I'm forgetting. I would say it was their their last good game. Their last good game was Everdale. Well, technically it depends on when you do it, and then if you count Clash Mini or whatnot. Assuming you count it as, oh no, because technically it was before. I think it was after, because it was killed after it. Well, regardless, well then Clash Mini's gone, but then so is Everdale. But yeah, I just think that just things are going downhill. Both at Supercell with Supercell's games and the monetization tactics, and I just think, yeah, I find it so sad. I just genuinely loved Everdale in that, because I thought after Rush Wars, I'm like, sort of like, I'm never gonna like another game. No, I didn't think I'll never like another game again, but like, Rush Wars was the best ever. But then I found Everdale, I'm like, okay, this game is actually really cool. And that was one of the coolest 2 weeks of my streaming that I've ever done in years of streaming. Those two, well, it was about 2 weeks when Everdale came out. That was unbelievably exciting and cool. It was, and it matched, or it was close to Rush Wars. It was so awesome in that. Our team was doing really well. A few good farmers was doing even better. It was so exciting. It's like, they had that. Right? And I was looking forward to doing it again, either this year or next year. I'm like, I haven't done any intense amount of streaming for ages. But this would bring me back to do it. And it's like, now that it's gone, it's like, it's so sad. And then in Rootland, I've like basically given up hope for Rootland. It just, they've had so long. They've had 2 years and done nothing really good with the game, and just made it worse in my view. I don't think it will be global. And Rootland's way further from being global and profitable than Everdale was, in my view. I mean, Royale was a cool game. I mean, it's still, I don't know, I'm not sure how I think about it now, but it was like a reasonable game. But now I think it's downhill. But it was still not as good as Everdale. Even what all stages of Rootland was never as good as Everdale. Okay, I'll read the chat. Okay, I think a huge number of mobile games as well as console games and PC games have spread. I do think that's a factor. But then I always remember, like, I've mentioned that before, and then you mentioned it, and I'm just aware of confirmation bias. Because Tim Pool did a good example regarding the Springfield. Like he said, like regardless of if it's accurate, the animals, they're eating the dogs in Springfield. Some memorable quotes from that debate. That like someone will say, oh, did you hear it? They're eating the dogs or whatnot, and someone will say, yeah, I did hear that too. And like a simple, like, because seemingly if you're all like checking it right then and there and like researching it, but like as in things can just spread, and then, or even if the first time they said, no, I hadn't heard of that, and then a third person comes along and says, yeah, did you hear about that? Oh yeah, no, someone did say about that, and then just sort of can then become a belief. And so I'm aware that like I've mentioned it before, and then you mentioned, I'm like, yeah, and then you'll be like, yeah, and that type of thing. And I do, even in real life, I do notice that sometimes goes on. Like I'll say things in that, and then I'll be like, wait a second, we had the same source, so this is definitely not confirmation actually. That something is accurate, because we both got the same source, and then we're mentioning it, and then we're like, well, I've heard it from that person and from that. It's like, yeah, that person told both of us. So yeah. Yeah, but I definitely do think that I mean, it's almost undeniable that is having an effect. Although then you would have like more people from, let's say, Africa, and now have mobile phones and are joining in the games. But yeah, I don't know. I do think there's just so many games, so many companies, just sort of, it is getting spread thin. And then there's all those games that are like real junky games with just heaps of ads, and they just like they don't even care about lasting. They're like, look, in the next month, we'll like put all these ads out and we'll just get a heap of money, and then that game can go, and we'll just do another one, which is kind of the same thing, but in a different format. Definitely, but PC and console are doing better than mobile. It's crazy because it was like a few years ago, like 10 years ago, well, maybe even 5 years ago, I'm like, mobile games, 5 years ago, I would have thought this, mobile games are the next big thing. Although, yeah, technically there was one point where I saw a Galadon video about VR, and I'm like, VR games are the next big thing, but then VR never seemed to, it just didn't take off. I don't know, I literally don't know anyone that even has a VR headset. I mean, sure, I'm sure there's someone I know that does, but yeah, not that it's ever mentioned it that I can think of. And then I have like lots of friends on Discord, so I'm sure that one of those people at least has it. But as in like in terms of people actually ever mentioning it, no idea. But in mobile games, like even 5 years ago, I'm like, this is the next big thing, because like not yet, like heaps of people in Africa and that won't have computers, but everyone will have a mobile phone. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't. I mean, some would say it's because, well, like input wise, like iPads have less options in that. But that said, like the iPads still create for awesome gaming experiences, like Clash of Clans, incredible. Clash, man, there's so many of those ones now. Clash Royale, Everdale, Rush Wars, they were all brilliant games on mobile and that. And then of course they've got like the COD mobile and that, and the FIFA and that have all been brought across. So you got that, and then you also have location-based games, which it's currently they just haven't found their footing or whatnot, their industry but they definitely have potential, which then you can't play with a PC, a location-based game. I wish there was more development into the location-based games. That would really get me going again and covering stuff. I see they released the GoPro, the latest GoPro, like this month, but it seemed like in my view, it seemed like a flop. Like some other companies are getting ahead of them, and then GoPro is they're just sort of stagnated in terms of the development of like there's been no substantial upgrades for the GoPro for like maybe 3 years or whatnot, or maybe 4 years. And it might have been 4 years ago it got an upgrade, but now it's sort of like, when's the next big one in that? And it wasn't this one, and so now it's another entire year before. And the GoPro was originally, it was like valued really big as a company, like value wise. Nvidia is doing well, although then it just dropped 10% recently, related to AI. enthusiasm, or in a Pew Research has an AI thing about, are you concerned about AI interference in the election, which most people are, which I think is correct. But then, like, both the poll and I think people should be concerned. So there's that. But then on the other hand, then companies are using AI to market stuff, and they're like, wow, this has lots of AI features in that. So it's interesting, like, if people are holding that paradox like that, well, like, the AI is really cool and really awesome, and also AI is really concerning. But I mean, it's not the exact same thing. In AI, the term has sort of become very generic to sort of heaps of stuff, so it's not very accurate. Like, as in, well, it's not very specific. But then Gen Z is more likely to think positively of AI. Well, well, probably yes, but as in are you concerned about AI interference doing overall good, overall bad in the election? They higher than 65 plus people are like, it's gonna be fine. It's still small. Like, most of them still don't think that. But it's a bigger share. And then the amount that get their news on TikTok is going up. And then also of the platforms like Facebook and YouTube and that, the percentage of people that get it for news off that respective site, if they use it, Twitter got the highest with, I think, 59%. And then Truth Social, Trump's platform, was not far behind. And then I think Rumble was at 48. Rumble was about like third equal or fourth. But yeah, some very interesting stats. Yeah, at the moment I'm going every day. Basically to allsides.com, which shows you the comparative bias in there. And I have invested in them, so disclosure. But I was using it before then, and I think it's a genuinely good site. Another one that is around is called Ground News. And Ground News is promoted by well, it's sponsoring. There's a couple of channels. I forget both of them, but one of them is one called Future Proof, and I quite enjoyed the channel Future Proof, which was about environmental issues, but it's through like a not a hysteria lens, but a like, okay, let's actually look objectively, glass bottles and aluminium cans. What's the pros? What's the cons? What actually works? What's actually realistic? So I like that, because it's like, there are environmental problems, and it'd be good if we can solve them, but we have to be honest about it, and not think that just subsidizing rich people getting $5,000 off a Tesla is going to solve the environment. That's not how this works. But that's what the New Zealand government, the last one, did. Spend over $100 million if you bought an electric car, which electric cars aren't cheap, unless you buy them secondhand, which they've got a dud battery, then the government would subsidize about up to $5,000 off it and that. And so you have all these people, well, yeah, you have all these people getting Teslas and that. Yeah, and then subsidize, the government's just saying, yeah, look, yeah, $5,000 subsidies, subsidized for buying it now. I think that's such a bad idea. It's been repealed now, but we're not getting back the $100 million. And then also the grid usage of all the electric power. Anyway, this stupid ideas for helping the environment, and there's good ideas, and I'm for good ideas that are practical, that work, not just this ideology garbage that's not helping. Okay, anyway, so I think Teslas are cool. I just don't think the government should be subsidizing them. Okay, where were we? Oh man, I really get distracted. Oh yeah. So yeah, the sites I use every day, all sites. Pew Research, they don't necessarily publish stuff every day. And then in terms of who's winning the race, 538 by Nate, well, sort of linked in with Nate Silver, owned by ABC now, which shows like Kamala Harris favorability rating, and Real Clear Politics, which shows the betting odds in the UK, as well as the latest polls on the swing states. So it's virtually a tie right now, which is crazy. So crazy. Like, there was the same, well, kind of the same option in 2016 in that, but now we've had 4 years under Trump, 4 years under Biden-Harris, and now effectively the same choice is upon us again. But the country's in a far worse state than 8 years ago. But people are like, even like this, like, is split like 50-50 almost exactly all this time on. Like, sort of no lessons have been learned, no mutual or widespread lessons have been learned in that. And so it's like, this is so hopeless. This is not good. And so it's like virtually 50-50 in that, which I think increases the chance of cheating when it basically comes down to Pennsylvania and Georgia. and it's like it's literally within 2%. The other day it was like even or within 0.3%. As like, and that's gonna determine the president, which it's like crazy. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's so close in that. Currently, the polling, like, it's Pennsylvania, which is like the like even more key than Georgia, arguably, although they're basically as important as each other. Yeah, those are the two key ones, and they're like basically 50-50 in that. Well, it was more like 48 to 48 or 47.9 to 47.9. So Harris is pulling ahead slightly in PA. And in fact, I could get up these different sites to just show you because I find them really interesting statistics. And then Trump's pulling ahead slightly in Georgia and that. And so if it's a split, then assuming that North Carolina is still Republican, then it comes down to Arizona, Wisconsin, and Nevada, all of which are split very evenly too. So it's wild. So anyway, the choice is back on two very, I'd say, almost entirely different visions of, yeah, I'd say entirely different. I mean, well, obviously there's always some overlap, like, within anything, but as in, like, fundamentally different, and it's back to the same thing, 8 years on, and it's even with under the whole COVID lockdown stuff, in terms of then, if you then ask the Republicans versus Democrats what lessons were learned, they learned the entire opposite lessons. Like, the Democrats are like, well, we need to trust the government more and follow the government instruction more, and the Republicans are like, the government lies and we should not follow and listen to the government expert advice in that. So it's like totally opposite. So you're going to have an even more polarized thing if there's another lockdown in that. Like, there's just like basically zero mutual lessons learned. So, and if you're not learning mutual lessons, like why it's, if the majority of people are not getting the same lesson, then that's not going to work. And also somewhat related in that. This was part of my point. I'm just thinking of them and then ding, 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 of getting through them. In terms of like the people being passionate about the game, which Al Capanem said is good. He said it's so cool that the people are so passionate about the game. And on one hand, it's like yeah, it's cool. If people actually love the game and really enjoy the games, it's awesome in that. However, I think overall, it's like net bad if people like really, really care about the game, and then the devs are making changes which people are really unhappy about. That's just not good, because then you have all these people extremely unhappy in that, and it's not that great if people are that invested in something that then has just been changed completely against what they want. That's not good. And I'd say that like in parallel that with politics and that, and if you have all these people that are really invested in politics, if they're not all in agreement, or the vast majority of them are in agreement, then that's really bad, because then you have two sides that are just extremely like, this is so terrible, this is so bad, but it's like a complete opposite. Like if just one group, one side was like that, it was like, this is so bad, and the other one's like, it's okay, or we don't really mind how it goes, then it's sort of like okay, because like okay. But if you have two sides that are both like extremely passionate and extremely dislike what the other side's doing, that's not a good thing. Okay. Back to this. Change my gameplay back to friends on Heyday. Everdale clan. Oh, nice. That's cool. That's so you still play Heyday. Nice. And so then you got those connections way on. It was such a good game. It's so sad they've killed it. It's just so sad. But I mean, you do need a good developer, because technically they could just like off-sell it like for probably a cheap price to like a third party that would then just republish it. But then if it had like no updates at all, then it would become that would be a problem, because you'd have all these people that would be like, this is so cool, it's back, it's back, it's back, and then sort of like progress their accounts to the max after not too long, and then it's like, well, what's happening with the game? So you sort of need, I don't know, that's sort of a problem, like, because with board games, they just exist and people still playing chess hundreds of years later, but with mobile games, it just doesn't seem to happen. I mean, technically, you can just have chess that you can do two-player on as a normal chessboard on a mobile app. But in terms of just game, I don't know, just the games online don't really work. But maybe that's because, like, games online, it's assumed that you play them like every day or weekly at least, versus board games, you'll play it and you might play chess, like every day for a few days, and then you sort of just put the board away, and then it's not for another couple of months you get it out again, versus the mobile games is sort of the expectation you regularly play, especially if you have clan events that require that, but then there's quite a big time demand in that, and I don't know, yeah. Gotta enjoy it instead of just filling up that collection book by spending money. I don't even do the Valley or Derby anymore. approved that to myself, that I could go the whole 9 yards. That said, didn't buy that 10th one for 10 diamonds. That was so weird how they had that. Like, it was sort of like, yeah, and that was like competitive. So it was like pay to win kind of in terms of that. Like if like all of you did like your 9 tasks really well, but the other clan just like paid for the 10th one, then you'd lose. I still overall I think that was a cool system, and 10 diamonds isn't too much. But then if you are genuinely competitive and then expected all your people to always be doing that, I don't know. I think you'd get on average 10 diamonds a week, but it would have been a pain to have to keep spending them. Although, yeah, because going back, if I played Heyday again, which I very, very unlikely will, I'd use my gems to unlock those slots, because that mattered a lot. I think Supercell will do something with Everdale again. Welcome to the stream, Edvin Mola. We'll see. I don't think they will. I don't think they will, because they're not going to release it again. They've already tried it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't get them enough money or whatever the reason they say. It just didn't happen. But yeah, but then they have the IP back, so I really hope they don't put it in Squad Busters. We're like, oh no, leave Everdale alone. Oh yeah, then there's the thing with Mr. Beast, is that whole thing is ongoing, and then there's Mr. Beast is now teamed up with Logan Paul to do Lunchables or shareables, or I'm not sure if they're competitive. The existing one is Lunchables, if they're calling it Lunchables, but to then have a prime drink in the lunchbox, and then a Mr. Beast bar, as well as one of 3 flavors, pizza. I forget the other 2 flavors, but and so they're doing that, and then and it was interesting because my first thought was, oh, I'm surprised that Logan Paul is teaming up with Mr. Beast, given all the stuff that's going on with Mr. Beast. But the comments said, I can't believe that Mr. Beast would team up with one of the most controversial people, Logan Paul. It was like funny because they thought that way and I thought that way. But either way, it's like hilarious that the pairing up. And then the Diamond Minecraft, Dan, the Diamond Minecraft or whatnot, said like it's probably not going to be that healthy. Which I agree with, but I don't know. I'm sort of torn, because on one hand it's like, yeah, it doesn't look like it'd be that healthy, but on the other hand I'm like, I think it's great that people have been innovative and trying to make things profitable and work and that, but it's like, it's really hard to do it in like a super, it's just in general, like to make things profitably still ethical. Because if it was easy, then you'd just see it heaps, but you don't see it heaps. But there's a reason for that, because it's not that easy to make it profitable. It is possible in some, not in all industries, but in some industries. I don't know. And then it's sort of also subjective, because there's more and more levels that you could always go into making something like the max ethical in that. But yeah, like, because it's like I love the seeing innovation in that amongst people that are sort of Logan Paul's not Gen Z, but the generation above, millennial, sort of doing like, hey, look, we're doing these still cool things and that, and we're joining up, and we're making this product, we're making that product and that. And I on one hand I'm like, that's really cool, but then on the other hand it's like, this one's probably not that healthy. But then I'm sure the existing one's not that healthy either. So it's it is what it is. But yeah. I think that's all I'll say on that one. Hi Edvin, hello on DLive, hello. The Valley is a flopped feature, I think. Doesn't What did they say? Is rent a subscription? I agree with you. I agree with you. Great. I agree with you. Sort of. I agree with you. Controversial take, but yeah. We're talking about Heyday here. I think it doesn't really add anything to the game apart from extra tasks to maximize the amount of rewards you get. I'd say the same. I'd say like at best it's like just a neutral or slightly favorable feature, but even then it's like, but if you compare it to all the stuff they could have added into the game instead of that, it's like that's what kills the Valley in my view. Like and I'd argue it was a flop in that. Because if it was like really, really good, even then you could still argue, okay, it's a cool feature, but I think they could have done more in this time. But given that it's like at best like a neutral or like slightly positive feature. Some people would say, nah, I don't even do the value. I don't like the value. It was bad even now. Then I just think like the value, yeah, absolutely was like considering like that, like when I was still playing Heyday in 2019, it felt like for all the 2019 updates, they were like the main focus was the valley. It's like, I don't even really care about the valley, and that like it's sure it's okay, but if this is all you're gonna invest most of your time into, then no, I'd rather you not even have the valley. Like, just who cares about the valley? Like, when there's all these other things that like could be improved and fixed in Heyday, and they're not getting fixed and improved after years, including the fact that if the leader of the valley is opted out, they can't see the points of the other people in the thing. I don't know basically anything about programming. I think they would take them 5 minutes to change. Like, it's probably just says like doesn't show or something, and they could just change to show, and then it would just like improve the experience for lots of players, and it would be so easy to change. Yeah. And if you had like a dev that was genuinely listening, I think they would agree. They'd be like, yeah, okay, there's no good reason to hide that information from the valley, from the neighborhood leader or the derby leader or whatnot. Yeah, we'll add that in. It'll take us, even if it took them an hour, even if it took them like 1 day. Okay, so that's 1 day's work, and then that will improve that feature for all these people in that. It's like, just change that. Like, it's so basic. And I brought this up in 2019. But as of last time, which was about 2 years ago when I did that react thing to the Camilla interview, it was, it still hadn't been changed. Okay, but yeah, I think it's a flopped feature in that. Like, even if it's like, okay, it's alright, it's like, yeah, and you got that instead of all the other things they could have added in like half a decade now. It's been 5 years. They could have, like, as of 2019, they could have made the game so much better. Like, from the, like, they've had, like, because back then it was still kind of young. It was only 7 years old, which is crazy. It's insane now that it's 12 years old. That's wild. Like, that's so wild. And it's sort of, yeah, then they had the 10-year anniversary and that. I thought that they would, like, take Ricky and co back to Finland for the 10-year anniversary. I'm like, this is the 10-year anniversary. Because, yeah, they did really cool stuff for Clash of Clans. Even 2015, which was only 3 years into it. Even 2 years after they already did that first trip for the YouTubers. And then 3 years after they had those awesome streams, including ClashCon. That was, like, the early Clash of Clans time was so exciting, so cool, so innovative. And then they had in 2017, the 5-year anniversary, which was, again, really cool. They had Gallad on there, and a YouTuber from Asia that was really excited about the game. Things were really cool. Those first 5 to 6 years of Supercell were awesome. And then I think it's just really gone downhill from there. Although, to be fair, no, 2019 they did have Rush Wars, which was cool. And then they had Everdale, which came out first as Valleys and Villages in 2020 and that. But they weren't sort of fundamentally changing Supercell games, and also the existing ones weren't getting really cool updates at the time, as of like 2020 or 2019, in my view. In 2017, Clash of Clans still had that builder base update, which was really cool. It's hard to objectively view it, because then, like, I would have been like really like psychologically and emotionally enjoying and loving the game and thinking more positively about it, but I still genuinely think that it has gone downhill since 2017, and I think that it was really cool in those first 5 years of Supercell. It was really, really, really cool. My voice is getting a bit sore. I haven't streamed in about a month. Okay, for a while I used to use the Valley to get diamonds. When it went to free to play, I got tired of it. Still got the diamonds been free, so my diamonds are building up. They do stack up when you get them every Valley season, but it's so much effort. Sometimes I only have time to play once a day, even now. Multitasking and watching this. I have to wait grandsons for schoolwork. Metacore gave the IP. It means something. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. You might be right. Could do. I mean, in my view, I think they're basically the same company. Like, I don't know, they just seem very similar. Like, because the Valleys and Villages, I'm pretty sure, was under them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, it could. But, I mean, what does it mean? Like, is Supercell going to re-release it? It's like, I highly doubt it. I mean, if anything, I think if anything, it would just be that they'll then like add in a Everdale character into squad busters, which yeah doesn't really mean anything. So it is Swing State. Don't you have a Heyday channel? Can't follow all the Heyday content creators anymore. It was so cool back in 2017 and 2018 and 2019 being involved. Like I did that collab with Rowdy Ranch and Gizmo about the getting 7 million coins on a farm. And it was so cool. It was just cool. Like when there'd be an update, and then I'd go to Ricky's channel, go to Gizmo's channel. It'd be like, oh, it was so cool. I really do miss that. And I don't think that's coming back. Because I mean, I don't intend to return to Heyday, and yeah, it's just sort of how it is. It's just sort of, it's sad though, because I loved in the Battlelands community. That was so cool, and it's gone. It's finished in that, and then some of them moved over to Blast Royale and whatnot. But yeah, it's sort of sad. But I do have respect for the likes of Zanzard, who sort of then came out after doing the Battlelands videos. Eventually, then said like actually. Gaming's not a good thing, and gaming's a bad reflection of your state of mind, or something along those lines. Not quite that, but basically I think he's just like going along the path of trying to figure out what's right, what's true, the path of truth, and that. And I think that I respect him for doing that. So he did, it's like, and I don't think it's hypocritical in that sense. In that, like, I think that he just is genuinely developing in that and thinking about, okay, well, this and that, and do I agree with all of his conclusions in that? No, not necessarily, but I think that it sort of, you can come back to incentives. Like, there's just no incentive for him to like lie about that and just sort of come out after doing Battlelands videos saying, oh, Battlelands is terrible, people that do Battlelands videos, like, it's bad. It's like, no, I think he just genuinely seen through it, and I think that was cool, and that he was sort of going through that, oh, actually, yeah, I do realize this now, that like just gaming can be a bad thing in that. Like, yeah, and I respect people that do that. Another one that did that was the J Crafter. He used to do Minecraft videos, and I used to watch him. My goodness, it must have been a long time ago, man. It must have been about like 2013, 2014. That's wild. Probably 2014. And then anyway, he did Minecraft videos on survival games. And then like years later, he was sort of like did these videos of like he said how when you start doing something, when something that you love doing, you start doing it for money, it can destroy it. And I was like, oh, I just love that he's thinking. He's genuinely like trying to figure out what's right and wrong, and come to conclusions in them. And I have a respect for that. Just then I sort of iDubbbz in that and thought, in that case, I think that iDubbbz has reached some wrong conclusions in that. Yeah, I don't know what to make of iDubbbz in that. Like, it's, like, assuming he genuinely believes what he believes, I think that I think it's genuine what he I don't know. It's hard to tell. I find it hard to tell. But assuming it's genuine, I think he's reached the wrong conclusions in that. Sort of like, he's concluded, I probably have hurt some people in the past, which that's probably correct. But then his response is like, well, it's sort of like, oh, no, but it wasn't, it's all bad, because he left some of the videos up. But I don't know, and in some cases, I don't think it leads to right conclusion in that. But then I wonder how much pressure of him changing and thinking like that was pressure from his girlfriend at the time, and some other people in that then affected his judgment. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what iDubbbz's mind is in that. But on one hand, I can somewhat relate and respect for the fact that he like admits that like he sort of like has determined, yeah, actually some things that in the past probably weren't great and probably had some harmful effects on other people. It's like, okay, sure, but then I think that his then conclusion from that wasn't correct. But I think he was sort of moving in a direction of that, because it's sort of interesting, like looking back to like 2016, you had H3, you had iDubbbz, you had with Pyrocynical, and you had Leafy in that, and basically all of them sort of then well, Pyrocynical's sort of in the middle, still at the middle, but then like Leafy sort of stuck where he was in 2016, and then yeah, he doesn't do content anymore, I don't think. But yeah, it's interesting. But I do have respect for Zanzard and the J Crafter for what appeared to me to be genuinely thinking through things that directly like that they did gaming content in that, and they thought about how does that they struck me as people that were thinking, which I think was good and healthy, and we need to see a lot more of that in society. Okay, back to here. Down to watching Ricky, currently 2 weeks behind on his videos. Rip Everdale. I remember watching your streams while playing myself. Sad to see. Indeed. Is it Sue? I think that name rings a bell, but I not entirely sure. Squadbusters is so dead considering only 100%, 100%. And you look at the trends, it's so dead. I think Supercell regretted it. And I mentioned it on day one. I'm like, I think this is a mistake. Sure enough, I'm pretty sure it is. And they're sort of gonna have to. I mean, they've got a dedicated loyal base, like a small base that's sticking at it. Like it sort of seems to have plateaued rather than like slowly dropping off. It's sort of maybe it is still slowly dropping off, but it's sort of like plateaued with like some dedicated fans. But yeah, like it's like below Heyday, I'm pretty sure. At least on the web search, it's about even on the YouTube search, but probably will go slightly under it. But it's like this was their big new game. Like after all the other games they killed, they finally picked one to release, and it was this one, which just did not work. And I think they'll be like, what the heck do we do now? Because it's in like it's in a worse. I think it's a worse game and in a worse state than Clash Royale, than Clash Mini. But Clash Mini, it was still in that phase, so they still could decide. But now this one they've gone ahead with, like, just out of the blue, whoa, we're live. Even though the reviews, I'd say, were Metacore or worse than with Clash Mini. But they just released it, and now it's out, and now they're like, well, I don't know what they're thinking, but I don't think it looks good on Supercell at all for this company that has killed so many games, including Everdale, including Rush Wars, and then they released this one, and it's like, and then it, like they can't hide those statistics. Like those statistics, like people on the street will looking at them and be like, "Yep, that game failed." So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like they're gonna have to sort of fundamentally turn around, but that's what they tried with Clash Mini, and they never could do it to the point that they were happy with, and they never managed it with Everdale or Rush Wars. But yeah, I think it's just done really badly in that. But I just genuinely don't think it's an awesome game. I just don't think it's an awesome game. Like at best, it's okay, but it's just not a great game. It's just even I, who like has played a lot of mobile games in that, and it's just like I think objectively, like objectively in terms of am I excited to play that game and be like, oh, I really want to play it? No, I'm not. From my view in that, it's not like I'm like, I don't want to play it just because I'm trying to stay away from gaming right now. No, it's just I'm not trying to stay away from gaming in that, but I just genuinely, it's just not that exciting. It's like, yeah, there's this leaderboard, but it's like the game's still like rigged per se, pay to win. Although they got rid of the megas or whatnot, but do they still have the keys? I don't know. Even so, it just wasn't a great game, and they'd have to change so much stuff to make it good. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it. So, and thus, I don't know what they're going to do with the game, because they're just going to have this game which is just so subpar performing, and they sort of just. I just genuinely don't know what they do. Like at this point, probably the best thing would be like, well, we're gonna kill it. We made a mistake, but then you could argue that undermines trust for them because the people might have spent lots of money on it on the basis they'll keep supporting it. So I don't know what they do. I think Boom Beach is still lower than it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Boom Beach is still lower than it, but yeah, for a brand new game, it just with so many resources, and it did not do well. I'm doing the level 7 farm challenge by myself now. Nice. I never completed it, but I thought of it. I was like, this would be cool. There was almost no like challenges. Like the only one I could find that I can remember, and there was almost none. But because they used to have that cool form, I loved the Supercell form that they got rid of. They're getting rid of so much stuff in New Zealand. Like they're going to turn off 3G, even though 4% of devices or phones that people are using like only have been connecting or only connect on 3G. So I think it's a bad idea. I don't think they should be shutting off 3G. Certainly not yet. They should. I don't know, but like give it like another. Assuming that it isn't. I don't know. It depends. Like if they're losing like $10 million a year on it, well then that's not great. But if for example they're just like not making a big profit, or like they lose like 100,000 a year or $1 million a year. I don't know. I don't know. But like then if they're making like 30 million, then what's $1 million? Well, I mean, but then they're like, well, yeah, we don't want to lose any money, but I don't know. I don't think it's a great idea. I think give it like another 1 to 5 years, and sort of just because naturally some of those people will eventually trail off, like some of those phones will eventually just die naturally and people will upgrade. But when you have 4%, when you have 1 in 25 New Zealanders still using the service, and they're like, well, almost no one uses it, so we're going to kill it. It's like, don't think that's great. So they're going to be turning it off next year. I don't know. That is sometime. That is sometime, but probably there'll still be 1 or 2% using it by then, or maybe 3%. Because some farmers I don't think can still access like above 3G on their farms. So I don't like the big move to digital, and then they're getting rid of the boarding. Well, I don't know. They're like moving towards like you get rid of your boarding passes, you get rid of the physical passports and that. And I think the rate of change is concerningly fast. I mean, in New Zealand, the bank branches are closing down. There's a bank called TS. These I don't know how many, maybe like 10 main banks in New Zealand, and one of them, which only has one branch in the whole South Island, which services 1 million people. In terms of like there's 1 million people in the South Island. Only, let's say, on average 2% or 1% are with this bank. But even if it's 1%, that's still 10,000, 20,000 customers. But then most of them don't use the thing. There was a statistic that the amount of people going in there for transactions is very low, although people go in there for problems and that. But yeah, so the checks, I think they got rid of checks, which is negatively affected my nana being able to pay for stuff. Like she paid like I think it was like her tax or whatever every year, always on time, via a check or whatever. She'd pay it in that. But then they switch it. And say, no, we're not going to accept checks anymore. You can't do that. I'm not sure if that was the banks. I think it was, the banks, not the government, but yeah, to pay the government. So then that gets switched off, and then Nana tries to do it like online or whatever way they want it done, and then sort of is thought she'd done it or is struggling, or she thought she'd done it or whatnot, and then they start saying you haven't done it, and you haven't paid on time, so we're going to start charging you a fee and money because you haven't paid on time. It's like, what the heck? She's paid every single year, on time, every time, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, we're cancelling checks, can't use checks, oh, you're such a terrible person, we're going to start charging you because you haven't paid on time. It's like, it's like so wrong in my view. It's so wrong, and then there's just so many technologies that are just getting killed or very quickly going out at a rate far too fast. And there was an old guy at a Bible study group I was at a couple years ago, and he was like 80, and he said the point. He said the phased out checks 1 generation too soon, and I thought, yep, he's spot on. That's right. But yeah, there's just I don't think it's a good idea. This very digital road we're going down. In a couple of ways, both the privacy, security, I mean that argue, oh, it's more secure than that, but I don't think, and there's that whole check fraud thing with the Chase Bank recently. Infinite money glitch, but I don't think it is, because I think it just like gets rid of your privacy. Everything's digital, because everything digital is tracked, but well, not necessarily, but a lot of the digital stuff is tracked, and so there, on one hand you've got that, so you're losing freedom per se, and then when you have like so you got that element, and because potentially governments will say, "Oh, you can only spend money on." But this year isn't. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but as in it might not be confirmed. But like then say like your currency can only be spent for these things, but that might only be for beneficiaries. But then it could move into more people if they've got a system that easily does that. And then you've got like potentially a digital central bank, when you can have currency expiring that. But regardless of whether that stuff is true, you have got the serious thing where, yeah, basically your transactions are all digital and that, and so then tracked largely. I mean, unless you're going into Bitcoin that you've purchased and that on, like, in some websites, just to get Bitcoin or crypto, you have to then put in like your ID just to buy it. It's like, well, doesn't that defeat the purpose of crypto? Well, one of the purposes. But anyway, so you've got the problem of the privacy security thing is a problem, but also then you have the if everything just is digital and they just do away with all the paper copies, all the manual stuff and that, when you have another CrowdStrike, and there's a fitting name actually, a CrowdStrike, or what, it's sort of kind of fitting, but when that happens, you're going to be unbelievably stuffed in that. There's a book that someone recommended, and I'm not sure what it was called. It was called, not Black Swan, I don't know, but basically, like, you can get rid of like all this sort of like there's, because there's that risk model, right, of you've got like the chance of occurrence, like 1 to 5 and whatnot, and the severity of the event, 1 to 5 and that. And so as a business, and then you can like, weight, so like you give it a 5, 4, 3, and so if you had like something major that's gonna, that's very likely, well, that's a 25 or whatnot. And if it was like, for example, if it was like a medium event, but virtually not like it happen at all, then you sort of don't need to worry about it. But you can sort of get rid of it, so like you don't have all these like minor problems in that, and sort of, I'm not very good at explaining it, but then it basically presses it all into like, it's very unlikely this big event will happen, but if it does, it's going to be absolutely catastrophic because we're so dependent on that not happening. And if it does happen, you're just, like all the, imagine all the airports just going to blue screens, and all you've got is your digital phone that has your digital passport on it, and their systems to scan you in aren't working. You just leave. And so if you get, and the problem is, once you go to this digital, not only is it sort of then like, you've got a digital option. As of right now, it's sort of this, in most places, it's this middle ground where you've got the digital and you've got the other option, which is like, okay, that's all right. But there's push to get rid of the manual option, and so it's just digital, and I think that's going to be really bad and really concerning. And I think and once you get rid of those manual processes, then the staff don't learn them, and you don't even have a way to do them, because you just sort of, you're so dependent and like, well, we can just trust the digital. The digital's going to work. And then when it doesn't, then it's like, oh dear, we've got a problem. So I think just for those two reasons, the fact that like digital is not infallible, and if it has a mess up, you're going to be in chaos if you've got no way to do it manually anymore, as well as then you get rid of that privacy security thing. So those two things, which are not conspiratorial concerns, they are legitimate, reasonable concerns in my view. Just those two reasons alone, I think, like, you do not want to get rid of the digital. The problem is, though, because like there are digital things that it like does, like there are places where they make sense, but then if we get so used to just the convenience of everything's digital, it's just yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, I get tracked, but it's convenient. But if everyone, of like the majority of people, just repeatedly keep making that choice, that transaction effectively, that then has a big consequence in that. And then it's like same with like deciding, if you're using Gmail or using Hotmail and that, with, Google or Microsoft scanning or reading your mail, or potentially doing so, versus like a private one like mailbox.org or Proton Mail, or other ones that are more secure in that. And so there's like that trade-off with the privacy and all this kind of stuff in it, or using Facebook, or like either Instagram or Messenger or Facebook Messenger, or WhatsApp for messaging. The messenger ones are the same thing. Then like, you're just like these little privacy trade-offs, and then if every time you pay with a card, just those little private, and you don't really notice them, and it sort of seems fine. And I still have a Gmail account. I still use a Gmail account. I'm trying to hopefully switch away from that. But it eventually accumulates, especially when most people do it most of the time. It then can become a very big problem, and you don't sort of notice it at the moment. And I used to think, privacy, it doesn't matter that much, does it? And now I'm like, yeah, no, it does, and so it's like all linked in my view, like, like in terms of the concept of trading off the privacy for convenience, both with credit cards and versus, because utilities can't really pay with cash anymore, I don't think. I buy most of my food with cash, so I buy, because in Christchurch there's fuel stations you go to, and a lot of them don't allow you to pay with cash. It's only card, versus I go to one that allows me to pay with cash. So like, I pay with cash, and then to buy food I pay with cash. So I still go through a reasonable amount of cash. Reasonable. Actually, I can give you a little statistic here. On how much cash I've gone through since the 1st of April. I've been tracking it. I've been writing down my transactions of how much. So if I go to cash expenses starting 24th of April, and 2024. So I don't know exactly how long this has been, but I have made 146 transactions in cash. The average is $25.77, and the sum is I've gone through about $4,000, $3,762.32 since April in terms of things that I've been paying with in cash. So like, and I pay for the doctor. When I go to the doctor, I pay in cash. When I go to the dentist, I pay in cash. Yeah, okay, I'll just show you a small sample of it. Boom. So see here, so I write the date of the transaction, I write the place, and I write and then what I got. So like iced chocolate, $5.50. Iced chocolate, $5.50. Strawberries. What was that one? Oranges and some other thing. And then frozen berries. Yeah, so I just... Oh, and sweet potato. Yeah, so yeah, like just write it like that. And so I have a big list. So yeah, 146 transactions in cash this year. So that is how I go about it. So I do pay with cash when I can. But it's most of my peers don't similar age people. Most people are just mainly card based. But there's an interesting stats on the Reserve Bank New Zealand as to how many. There's about 4% of New Zealanders that never use cash, and a bigger percentage that regularly use cash, and then there's some people that like sometimes use cash. Also, the amount of text that people send has dropped from like 130 down to 99 over the course of a few years, or maybe 1 year, in New Zealand as people move to other messaging apps more. And yeah, this was in the internet report, which was quite interesting. And yeah, and even with the census, which was taken in March 2023 in New Zealand, 97% did it online, did it digitally, versus I did it in person, manually. And then like yeah, when you like when I was coming back from Finland, from the Finland trip, I had a manual thing of like an exit pass or whatnot, and you wrote out your details about your like landing pass or whatever. You wrote out stuff on it, and when I catch a plane, I print out the physical boarding pass as well. Although on one occasion, I think I've used this year I've used the check-in feature, because you have to like check into the airport, so you can just digitally press it. But then it's like, what's the point of even having that requirement if people can just press I'm here, regardless of whether they're here, because they do it 24 hours or 48 hours in advance at home just after they've booked the ticket. Like, it sort of defeats the whole purpose of even having that as a thing. But yeah, then you can do because then you'd press it anyway because you're intending to be there. But then, of course, people that buy tickets are intending to be there. So there's basically no reason anyone ever wouldn't press that. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the boarding passes, but the boarding passes, they're now becoming more like when I queued up in March to go on a flight, there was most people were using digital, but there was a few people that had the printed out boarding passes and that. And then I was at an autism event yesterday, and then one of the facilitators there said that she finds airports incredibly stressful and looks at the boarding pass at least 3 times and wants it printed out, which I like it printed out too, and I look at it a few times as well. Yeah, but yeah, elderly people especially would probably like the older, the normal traditional forms of doing it. Well, technically it's not the normal way anymore because the normal way is digital, but the old way of doing it. And then probably people with disabilities would disproportionately like that way too. But I think, and so there's like, you also have that, like, regardless of those other arguments I brought up, you've got a group of elderly people that some of them aren't super familiar with digital stuff, and you can just say, well, who cares? You know, you can't use your 3G phone, or well, if you can't digitally do the whole process, well, then you can't fly with us. And some of them will do that because then they don't have to. They're like, we don't need those customers. Although those customers on average probably have more money, and yeah, and so then it's they do, but and certain things, like for example, the 3G phones are only 4% of customers, so it doesn't really matter profit wise for them although they're not, it's not that they're not making heaps of profit off that, or any profit at the moment anyway. Versus things like home phones, that's declining, but you still got lots of people that use them. So then they're sort of less likely to be like, oh well, screw people with home phones. Who cares? Because like, it's okay, you actually can't really just wipe out that many customers in that. So, but it's like concerning that's like the reason. Like as soon as we sort of like get to like 4%, then who cares? We don't need them in that. It's like so it's just a numbers game. It's not a we're happy to service you with cash or whatnot, or 3G phone. Yeah, and then there's some places in Christchurch as of 2020 that were already saying if you don't pay in cash, you can't buy here. I think there was 3 places in 2020 that I went to. Maybe one. Maybe that included 2021. There was the Nando's Chicken. They didn't allow cash. And there was like a bunch of us that arrived there and only had cash. And then like, yeah, no, we don't serve people if they're paying with cash and that. So then in that case, I ended up just paying someone with a credit card to get my thing, but going forward, I'd just never go back to places that do that. And another one was called Spoons, not Spoons. It was like an ice cream place at Gelato, El Gelato or whatever. That as of 2020. I remember talking to someone there about Trump was going to ban TikTok at the time. This was like late 2020, about that. About the TikTok ban. And now, 4 years on, it looks like it could happen again, unless they sell. But yeah, because TikTok's then so many young people are using it for their news. But as of then, I was there, and then that was another place that did not accept it. And then I'm pretty sure there's another place, but I've forgotten what place it was. But didn't accept cash, and so I wasn't impressed, and would not return and don't return to such places. Yeah, but yeah, I think it's not good, the transition that's going on to so much digital. I think it's a bad thing. And then even like with forms, like my granny's going for an assessment somewhere, and then they're like, yeah, we can do it physical form, but we prefer it if you do it digital. So they're sort of pushing people more to do it with digital. Yeah, not a fan. I think in that case it was because then they said that then they could read it before you got there, but then even then they could say, and you're welcome to drop it in ahead of time if you want us to read it first, or you can then you could like scan it. Technically, you could argue that's digital too, but or fax it. Yeah, fax it. That's technically it's digital per se, but it's old tech digital. That all different options. But it's very much a push for digital, which I'm not a fan of. Says the guy that streams all the time. It's like, look, there's heaps of cool digital technology. I'm not anti-digital, like all digital things, but I'm anti it being like your only option, and like this strong push towards, we can get away with physical passports and physical boarding passes, and get rid of the copper lines, and get rid of checks, and get rid of 3G and stuff like that. 3G thing, it's like, well, that's more like it's like if they're genuinely losing money on it, like, okay, but I still think it'd be better to put it out for another couple of years or so. But but like checks is like, you don't need to cancel checks. I mean, in the US you can still do them, but in New Zealand, I'm not sure if any banks still do them here. But it's possible, but yeah. Okay. At least Squadbusters Discord is still alive. I check it every day. Interesting. Good night time sleep. Thank you for being part of the stream, Cindy. Although I'm sure you've probably missed it by now. The meme of Supercell Graveyard keeps having to extend. Yeah. Oh, but I don't know what they're gonna do this one, because I just can't really see them killing it. But then it just looks so bad, just keeping like a game that like of all the ones they picked was that one, and it just hasn't done very well. Sounds like the chance of major earthquake in California. Balance of chances. Digital is a blessing and a curse. Cool stats. I use far less cash. Debit card, but last week my card number was stolen and used. So now I'm having to go to all the trouble of notifying people because of the new card. I pay all. I see. I've used. I don't even know if it's a debit card or a credit. I'm pretty sure. No, it must be a debit card because I don't think it can go into credit. I prefer it that way. Yeah, I've got it in 2021 with a group called Wise, and yeah, I'm on to my third one already because the first two were somehow stolen. Don't know how, but Wise was good about it, and they sent me a new card free of charge, and then were able to get the money or cancel the false transactions that people made in other countries. So that was good. Because the banks, you can't, like, if someone, like, defrauds you, like, and it's with a New Zealand bank, they sort of just say, oh, there's nothing we can do. It's like, that's not cool. But if you're, like, it would depend on the details and that. Like, but if it's, like, happened, like, within the last 24 hours and that, yeah, then you can, but with Wise and with PayPal, there's, like, a feature called PayPal Chargeback. I've never used the PayPal Chargeback feature, but with the Wise feature, you can dispute a transaction. And then, yeah, I've never had any trouble with that, so that's worked really well. Okay, so what will we do? I'm gonna go to the Discord server. There's a few things I want to check. Which one? Yeah, okay, now we'll go to this one first. Okay, boop, boop, boop. Everdale. Has someone added it in? Probably not. Yeah, someone has decided the fate of Everdale. Metacore has yet decided yet. As like super, that's crazy. View history. Who added it? Oh, that's this user. Man, my voice is getting tired. Yeah, wow, that managed to get right there already. So here, we'll read through it. I'm not sure if this is a new graphic or not. I used it for this thumbnail. The difficult decision of discontinuing Everdale. And it's very short, actually. I'm surprised it wasn't longer. It was just very short. By Mika Tamankolsky, CEO of Metacore, 18th of September. After careful consideration, Metacore has made the difficult decision to stop pursuing Everdale and cease its development. Since acquiring the game from Supercell in early 2023, we have strived to expand its world and better understand the market potential. They did do that survey right near the start, but despite our efforts, we were unable to find a path to improve its market fit and make it a sustainable business. I don't know. I don't know enough about this kind of stuff, but I find it hard to believe that they couldn't find a way to make it profitable. Metacore's mission to entertain hundreds of millions of people for decades. That's just way too ambitious. Way too ambitious. Like, Supercell can't even do that. Like, Supercell's got as of March 2016, got 100 million active players. And that's Supercell with all of their games. So it's like, this company here, there's no way they're going to get hundreds of millions, like 300 or 400 million people playing for decades. It's just absolutely no way. I mean, they're welcome to have that mission, but that's way too ambitious. By creating a portfolio of world-class, that's like going to Mars type ambitious. Like, I think it's more likely that Elon will get someone to Mars than, like his company will get someone to Mars than, or NASA will get someone to Mars than Metacore will get hundreds of millions of people playing their games for decades. By creating a portfolio of world-class hit games that keep engaging big audiences. Oh, I see. And provide us with a sustainable business. We strive to understand our audiences as thoroughly as possible from what drives them and what keeps them coming back to their favorite game day after day.
That's why when we acquired Everdale from Supercell, we started with a deep dive into the game. I'd be really interested to see like the process, like how many staff did that, and do they look through the code? Do they look through the stats? Did they like play the game themselves to figure out what it was like? Did they look into all the responses with the hope of better understanding the game's world and motivations of Everdale's strong player community? It was a pretty cool community. We hope to strengthen the world of Everdale. That word is so used now. Like 20 years ago, I don't think that word, like community sort of is just so used now. We hoped to strengthen the world of Everdale, but never made any concrete promises for the game. Also, I just always think of all sorts of things. But yeah, Hassan Piker and the Omni-Liberal, what's his name? Stephen, his other name. Destiny. Yeah, I didn't realize that their disagreements went back like long ago. Like I only like sort of in late 2023 sort of like these 2024 these guys have a disagreement, but actually it went way back to 2019, which was, I find 2019 a notable year because it was before the 2020 election. I think they're just sort of not everything, but like so much changed 2020, like in society and politics. And just 2020 really changed. So did 2016. It seems to be those election years that really changed things. Well, I mean, technically because then you change like in 2022, then look, the house flipped. But then they obviously, but they just happened to be on years. Like 2020 also, there was the whole George Floyd stuff. There was the whole COVID lockdown stuff. There was the whole election stuff. So it was like multiple versus like what major thing happened in 2023? Well, the 7th of October attacks, but that didn't. I don't think that fundamentally changed U.S. society. Although to be fair, it did create quite a division, especially amongst the Democrats, over which, but like as in pro-Israel, anti-Israel, but those other in 2021. I don't think 2021 was I think a horrible year in my view, and like the Afghanistan stuff and that. Although you could say, well, that was just like October 7 in terms it was an overseas event that was bad, but I just 2021 and 2023 didn't really have things that majorly changed the. I'd say same with 2019. But I'm probably forgetting stuff, but and if you count the midterms as election year, but I'd still say like 2022 had more impact than 2021 and 2023, but not as much as 2020 or 2024. And I think it was I miss 2016, 2017, 2018, which were ironically good times. Both I'd say personally, politically from my perspective, and like same with the Supercell games as well. So it was just, just a lot went downhill after that. But okay, sorry, I'll get back to here. The team was on a mission to dismantle Everdale. How could they? We talked to the players and tried to find. What do they mean specifically? We talk to the players. Like when I think of that, I think of someone on the street saying like, "Hey, what is your perspective on reparations, on the Constitution?" Like we talk, like you physically talk to them. But even if it's like not physical, okay, sure. You're like having ongoing conversations with players about like, and maybe that happened, but I wasn't aware of that happening as far as I could. But I don't know. I assume surely they must have done it to some extent, because that doesn't even seem, in my view, it doesn't seem true. If it was just by that they meant they did this one-off form near the start that people filled out, never heard really back from. We talked to the players. I'd be like, I don't know. Were any of you in the chat talked to? It's not to say they didn't, but I didn't hear of it happening. And tried to find ways for the game to have a strong market fit and become a sustainable business. I mean, because so then, like, clearly they're thinking of like money, and I think it's fine that you do have to make things profitable in that. But I find it hard to believe that they couldn't make it profitable. They couldn't find a market for it. Unfortunately, we have not been able to find a way to improve the game's market fit to keep serving Everdale's audience long term. After much consideration, we have made the difficult choice to discontinue our work on Everdale and return its IP to Supercell. Yeah, it'll be interesting if I don't know, like how many times do they have to kill it before we're like, okay, it's dead? Like, do we all now hang out and wait and be like, well, the IP's been returned. There's something in there. What's Supercell about to do? Like, I don't know. Like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, maybe there is something in that. Maybe there is something in that. But I don't see Supercell re-releasing this, and I don't see Supercell handing it to another company and saying, have 2 years and figure out whether you can make this profitable. I don't see how that could possibly be Everdale's coming back. Like, I just don't see how. I mean, I think, yeah, okay, maybe there's something in that. Like, it's interesting they've added that, included that, but I really don't think that equates to Everdale's coming back, or Everdale's like likely to come back, or Everdale like even could come. I mean, it could come back, but it just, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. It's been hard for us, especially knowing what a keen player community there was behind Everdale. While this process doesn't offer us the results we initially hoped for, the time spent working on Everdale has offered us a lot of learnings and insight. We hope to see those learnings put into practice with our new games in development in the future. Well, there you have it. There you have it, folks. So I've got that one. Just that one. They did have other ones, but that must be the only one that's lasted. Okay, so, and then we've got the interest, which is funny because when they're putting trends, when they started typing trends in, this was the one that came up with Everdale. But I think it said on shopping, which is annoying. You get a little bit boost. Expects it's going to go. That looks slightly higher. Oh no, but that's past days. That wouldn't make sense. Past 7 days. Try this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, a little boost. A little boost. Oh, wow. Finland was the #1 for that. Everdale. And they're not even related. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Oh, I know, it's not. Yeah. Thought it was going to be. Okay. I thought it was going to be Helsinki, but maybe that's part of Helsinki. Okay, past 5 years. Wow, there was a... Man, that was just after the Afghanistan withdrawal. It was such a cool game. It will be missed. And it's interesting, it still keeps a bit of interest on the web search. Maybe people are like searching, hoping, but it's gone. It's gone. Okay, back to the chat. Oh, nice. It's good that got returned. Okay, now I'm gonna go to... Oh, do I go to the servers first? Or... Yeah... Yeah, I'll go to the servers. Yeah, I'll go to the servers first, and then I'll go to... Then I'll go to the articles. Yeah, okay. Discord. So this is... So they said, hi everyone. Hey everyone, we have some sad news to share. Now this was at 1:06. And so shout out to the member in my server who put it out first. Before this. So there we go. There's a 200 and few reactions. Oh, there we go. It's got Taz. Wonder what Taz is up to. Well, because then there was Clash Mini, but then that's died, and then there is still, of course, Squad Busters, but I think most people have gone off that game. And so now it's sort of like, we have no game. All of us sort of beta players. We don't want to be beta players. We want to be like this, a game that actually works. Yeah, so that was the thing they asked back in... Story continues. Not for long. Well, for 2 years, sort of pending. Oh, it's so sad. So, because I think they turned off chat, didn't they? Discord announcement. Oh, no, I don't know. I'm pretty sure chat's turned off.
Oh, there we go. Till we look. Well, you know more about it. You can open it up. Yeah, there wasn't really. Oh, he's from the Rootland one. But I'm not very optimistic about Rootland. Everdale chat. Good old OJ. So that's that one. Then we'll go to this one. There's so few that did the trophy thing. Doesn't really matter. Here's the general. So shout out to. Oh, I don't know. I think his name is Nigel. I'm not sure. Oh, we got a mutual friend. Anyway, and he at 12:58 a.m., which was 8 minutes before the news broke on the other one. So he was ahead of his game. That's how I saw it, actually. I got a notification. I think put it everyone, but it was on a game news site. Yeah. Could have just released it and discontent. Well, they couldn't disconnect from servers and still have paid purchases, but yeah, it wasn't making enough. So yeah, anyway, there were the two servers. So yeah, we had a lot of people. Oh yeah, and then my announcement. I should have put the survey here. Rookie mistake. I'm so optimistic. Oh, it's so sad. And then we had. I should have put the number. Oh, yeah, there we go. 863. So I said, at everyone, sadly, Everdale's development and release has been killed. I'm disappointed with this news as I was looking forward to playing it again. I found it hard to believe that they couldn't find a profitable market for the game. Thank you to all of you who were there on the fun Everdale journey. For Valleys and Villages in 2020 to 2021, and or for Everdale in 2021 to 2022. It was a really neat game and a really neat time playing it. Thank you to Lynn and at Grey Orange for helping moderate the server. I don't intend to delete the server or turn off chat, but it will inevitably become inactive/dead as we likely move on from our hopes for Everdale. Rootland is still under development, but I'm not optimistic for its future. The mobile gaming market seems to have gone downhill. It was fun playing with you guys. I hope you have good lives doing what is right. Thank you, SuperSight. And there's the link to the article. Yeah. Oh, over 40k rep. Shout out to Liba and Tushki back in the day. Oh, and 50. Shout out to 3 Dots. 3 Dots. I remember the name 3 Dots, actually. I remember that. Man, we had a lot of bots in the server. But legit ones. Well, not like bot, not like, yeah. Okay, but yeah, that is that. Game suggestions. Don't die. Man, I haven't checked that channel. I haven't checked these channels for 2 years. Wow. Bugs. Oh, there's that wonderful game. No, it's such a good game. Why'd I have to go? Yeah, so that is the Hall of Fame. Oh wait, no, what was the one that I... Oh no, that was the other game. Memes, playing ahead research. Oh, that was funny, because people like put screenshots, but it was sort of like all not in the same place, so like they're trying to be helpful, but it's like not that helpful when you just sort of like have random bits from all over the place. But and someone's like trying to get a clear idea. But yeah, they were the announcements for it. Okay, now I'm going to get the articles on it. Every day. I think there was about 5 companies that covered it. News. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there you go. 5 companies. Okay. Oh, wrong one. So,
GameIndustry.biz, heard of them. MobileGamer.biz, heard of them. PocketGamer.biz. I wonder if they're all owned by the same company. Probably, I don't know, because I have never heard .biz, so it's sort of Mobile Marketing Magazine and Gaming Gamer Gone Phone. Don't think I've heard of them. So which one broke the story first? Either Pocket Gamer Biz or Mobile Gamer Biz. So they're both 2 days ago. So we'll open them up. We'll compare that. We're gonna do an all sides analysis. Look for bias. I highly doubt there'd be bias on a post about Everdale. So the two. So we'll just check, see if we can find which one was first. Sometimes if you hover, it shows. Although how we could do it. I don't like it when it doesn't do that. How we could do it is if you refresh, like, when it's about to tick over, then you can sort of see. That looks very, like, Everdale-like. It's annoying that I don't know which one covered it first. Okay, anyway. Oh, did they do it? Oh, no, that's the first video. Like a farewell video. So by Craig Chappell. Metacore has ended development on co-op builder Everdale almost 20 months after it acquired the title from Finnish developer Supercell. Yeah, I'm just going to compare these articles and sort of see what. Also, yeah. Yeah, so he's basically just quoting, which is fine because it's good. Because, like, I've thought, like, if you started a news agency, like, it's very hard to have, like, if there's a car accident in some place in another city, to have, like, a reporter there getting your own footage and stuff. But, like, you could totally just on, like, press releases by the government and by gaming companies, if you're doing gaming news, just do it based. I mean, with gaming news, it would almost always be. It wouldn't be, like, a physical event. I mean, technically, like, they might have, like, a PlayStation 5, Apple releasing a phone somewhere and everyone's lining up. But typically, that'd be, like, digital things, like Blizzard had done this and Fortnite has done this, so it'd just be like reporting based. You wouldn't have to physically be there, and you'd think it would be way easier then to do journalism because you don't have like people saying stuff and having to physically go there and that. Like you just say, this is what Blizzard said. Yeah. It's not only sales of I was gonna try that game. Actually, but guess I won't be trying it. June. So I missed it a few months ago. There's a lot of things I've wanted to do, but have not got around to doing, and sometimes then you miss the opportunity altogether. 500, that's pretty good. All right. And then, okay, and then there's another thing. Because they've got that Superfest, haven't they? They got Superfest. That one? No, that's live streaming. That one? Superfest, yeah, here it is. So this is a thing where they're doing something in Finland. Clash on steroids is what I thought it was a bit like. So you can enter if you... Did they put it? Yeah, they put it on like a few different ones, like the Supercell one, and I think the Squad Busters one. And but some of them they had different instructions in that. Like they put like should be listed on the description comment. I think that was probably an accident. Or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't the same description thing here as in the other two. But they got that. And also. Tribe Gaming, the Wikipedia has been deleted, which I find really sad and really undermines my trust in Wikipedia, because I saw it a while back, a few months back, well, maybe a couple months back, there was sort of like a tag that someone had on Wikipedia, which was like a minimalist, or another one, which was like the opposite. So basically, the minimalist wants to sort of this is my understanding of it, get rid of like all the information that's sort of like not like, I don't know, like not real, like there's not a lot of people looking at it or whatnot. I know that couldn't be their criteria, I wouldn't think. Otherwise, that's real dodgy, because you go through periods of not many people searching up this politician. Well, their Wikipedia is wiped. But like the other group was like, we want to have like lots of information out there, sort of even if there's not that many people looking at it and stuff like that. And I'm very much with keep the page up, because I always thought I'll never have to way back the Wikipedia things because they've always got, you know, their history, so you can look back at all that stuff. But then if Wikipedia's just going to wipe articles, well then, because you can see, and I used to read this one, you can see it's still there like that, right? But if you click on it, then it's gone. It's been wiped. So they've deleted it like a month ago or whatnot. And I don't think you can even look back at it, because the thing, if you could look back at it, well then there'd be no point deleting it, because it's effectively not deleted. But then if you delete it, it's like, why would you delete it? That was like a fine Wikipedia. I wanted that information, but then it's like really annoying that how they delete it. But I'm like, why would you be like minimalist on Wikipedia and that? Like, I don't think it's good, because then there's just like information that we had that now we don't have. So it would have been better if they never published a Wikipedia on it. Well, I don't know. Like, I think it's better that they did, because then if I'd waybacked it and someone else might have waybacked it, then we can access it. But it's like, just very much makes Wikipedia well, I mean, it's already very unreliable for other reasons. But if they're just wiping Wikipedia pages, and it's like, well, can't even trust them to keep the information. And then what's the other one? The wayback's involved in a lawsuit at the moment. Okay, let's sure you do. Yeah, 692. We and our 692 partners process personal data. Oh, I don't want to have to go through all that. Alright, so that was that one. Then this was the other. Oh wait, no, that was one we just read through. By Neil Long. Farming game. Killed in. Oh yeah, so that is the date that the other one was killed. I think that's helpful. 2.6 million estimates though. 1.5 million downloads. So yeah, that's gone. This one. Yeah, they're all quite short, but it doesn't like matter. It's just good that they've covered it. Well, this one even has comments. Ooh, they updated it a day later. I won't know which one covered it first. After much drama and consideration. What? Much drama. What? Supercell's peaceful city. This one describes it as a city builder, and the other one describes it as a farming one. I'd say if I had to pick one, it's more farming than city builder. I mean, you sort of like I'd say village. Yeah, village builder, not city builder. But maybe that's a genre type. So then they're sort of saying that's the genre type. Once again, after Royale shut down on its LinkedIn post. Wow, is that where they announced it first? Maybe they posted that link. No, but then it would just be, it's a URL that's live anyway. What? However, when the game have they just used an old article, like the old one when it was killed, and then they copied and pasted it? When the game is taken off the server, it's not announced yet. It's not on the server. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe on some server, but it's confusing or misleading, because it's like, wait, so you can still play it right now? Is that what they're even saying? I don't think that is what they're saying. Metacore has failed. I don't know this article. I don't think they're even trying to be biased. I just don't think they've like written it that well. Metacore has failed to find a way to satisfy Everdale players in the long. Well, you could argue that because they've announced they're killing it, but it wasn't that they failed to make it cool. That we were satisfied with the game, although we wanted more features in that. But it's like, I don't think that's the problem. I think they're saying that money's the problem. Yeah, market expected value. That's not the same thing as not satisfying Everdale players. Despite the developer continuous effort to make fit for the market, Everdale could not reach a sustainable item. Item? What do they mean, a sustainable item? Oh, Everdale could not reach to be a sustainable item. sort of like product or game or something. I don't know. It's a weird item. Thus, the game finally meets its end. It's an interesting, sort of interesting written way of. The developer tried their level best to understand the market demand and the audience. After the acquisition, Metacore took several approaches to make the game sustainable in the industry. It talked to the players, engaged in the community, and approached and other approaches to understanding the reason for its performance. Is this AI written? Honestly, I don't know. Because I know like All Sides is using AI to assist writing. Post discontinuation, Everdale will return to Supercell's infantry with the future unknown. That definitely makes it sound like, ooh, maybe it is coming back or something. And none of them mentioned valleys and villages. Interesting. They probably had no idea and probably didn't like go, oh no, what? Look what we have here. I was about to say probably they didn't know about it and didn't want to go into super detailed research to just announce that something's going to look at that. Oh, there we go. We got one that mentions it. The game was earlier published under a different name, Valleys and Villages. Well done. Good. There we go. Good mention in it. Later in October 2022, Supercell announced the shutdown, citing it didn't match expectations. Whoever made return to production 2023, following takeover by Metacore. Following this, Metacore handed the IP back. It's unclear what Supercell will plan with the game, given they've already given up on the game for a year. The Everdale community, however, continues to hope that they can once again relax in their beloved valid someday. Okay, there we go. There's a couple of hiccups earlier in the article, in my view, but they finished well. But well, I don't know. Is that even like? Sure, we hope for that, but I don't think that's a realistic hope. Like I think it's gone. I don't know. Like this sounds like ooh, Supercell might re-release it, which maybe they will. Why would Supercell re-release it once they've concluded that it's not workable? They send it to another company. They say, yeah, it's not workable. Get sent back to Supercell. Supercell's not going to be like, yeah, it might be workable. I don't know. Maybe they could add it into a mini game or something else, or I don't know. But yeah, anyway, there you go. So, so it's that one. Then is this one? You can you can tell 700 companies that yeah. Metacore shuts down development, returns creator Supercell. Vicky Blake, that other one was by MD Sadisquasman Saka. Okay, here we go. Mobile firm Metacore is ending development of free-to-play games, building, and then there was that guy, I forget it, Evan something, and he's like a British guy, and then there was like, you could read Bloomberg articles for free if you just like added in like a dash or something. Not a dash, like a slidey thing. Bracket? No. www.// Oh yeah, slash. Yeah, slashes. Mobile from Metacore is ending development. Building sim. So we got a farming game, we got a city building game, we got a building sim. Oh, it says village building sim. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so we've done that. It was a village builder. Yeah, I'd say village builder. New game, Pixelplex recommended. Reminds me of Ghost City was mentioned. Ooh. We'll go have a gander at that one. Pixel. I guess this is like the closest to a just chatting stream that I've got. Although a lot of streams I've done. We're down to 2 viewers on. Oh, we got 3 on DLive, 2 on YouTube. We had about like 5 or 6 for ages on YouTube. So they are. The other one's about a horse called Everdale. Yeah, all the other ones are horse. Pixelplex.
Colonize Mars. There we go. That's funny. There's a game called Terraforming Mars, a board game. It's been around for a while. Whoa! It's been around since at least 2022. Interesting. Who's the dev? Toast. Okay. Oh, there's a few more. Okay, now come back here. I'm gonna look through my list of notes of things to mention this stream. Supercell last good game. Supercell gets the IP. Yeah, I was looking forward to covering it when it came out again, but sadly, mentioned Future Proof. They did some interesting videos. GoPro flop. Apple Watch. Oh yeah, Apple Watch. Because I don't know, potentially Apple, like, I don't know, I don't think that the Future Proof did a video about Apple Watches not really being that useful or not. I actually had one. I actually still have it. It's right there actually, but I haven't used it for about a year. Since about October 7th, I haven't used this watch. So, yeah, it's been interesting. It was interesting to use for a while, but yeah, no longer use it. Oh wait, that one's still there. Dude, there you have it. My Apple Watch. I got it in 2021, I think Series 7, because they'll be about to release the next one, because 2022, 2023, 2024, yeah. But yeah, there's a big chance, because I always think, like, in an optimal location-based game, like if you had the latest GoPro, the latest iPad Pro, although you could do Android as well, and you know, like the latest watch. The watch doesn't normally go to game. It's usually I looked at gaming for a while on it, and there was just like nothing I sort of found that I'm like, yeah, that's cool. For walks, I'd potentially, for tramps, I'd still use it, although I haven't for ages, but it could still be used for that. But you could like have a maps, like if you're playing location-based game competitively, you could have like a maps and sort of showing you where to go, potentially, but it's pretty limited use case. I mean, health-wise, it has got some things, but then, yeah. Oh, you could have done a video about streams dead, did an autism course. It's interesting, yeah, how the landscape of autism sort of changed over time in New Zealand and around the world. Yeah, like the words and that, like the term problematic behavior is then on the outward, and even the term person with like people with autism, then it's like, oh, it should be autistic person, sort of like a shift, which is sort of interesting. And then there's Chloe Hayden, which has released a book. Then there's a woman called Chantal Moira in New Zealand who's released a book. And then haven't heard anything about, what's her name? Paige Layell. Haven't heard about her for ages. I don't think she did a book. So what do you expect if you don't know a book? Bill O'Reilly released a book recently called Confronting the Presidents, which I've heard good things about, although that's on a channel which people that write in would be saying good things about, but I think it's genuinely a really good book, probably. So he's released that, sold 100,000 copies in 10 days, which is good stats for book selling these days, which sadly is on the decline. But yeah. Clash with Style said to check out Pixelplex. He hasn't said further. Okay. I typically just stick to ones that have recently come out, which very much limits my options. But I like sort of, like, everyone's in the dark on it, and so it's all like all discovering it at the same time, versus if I jump into a game where you've got all these people who've been playing it for like 2 years or longer, and they like just smoke you, and it's like not as fun. My daughter uses Apple Watch for heart monitoring and recommendation of one of her doctors. They accept Apple Watch data as an alternative to interesting extensive monitoring. I use Apple Watch along with Strava. It can give some cool stats on that, like for tramps and whatnot. But I found the battery life on it wasn't great.
Like it like sort of is gone after a day, every day. Like I don't know. I guess it's like what you can expect from a device that small, but it is even it is a bit of a pain. And GoPro battery was horrendous. I'd say of all the items I've bought and been like hyped about, like GoPro was the most underwhelming one that I got. It was like so clunky to use. You needed an email to be able to use the physical hardware. Its battery didn't last very long. I was not that impressed because I was like, oh, I heard good things about GoPro for so long. I'm like, this is such a cool thing. Finally got a GoPro, and then it just wasn't great in my view. But then it's like, well, they could make one that's much better, but they haven't really improved since the one. I think I got it in late 2022, and then both the 2023 and the 2024 release ones haven't been much an improvement. And the 2022 one wasn't much an improvement on the 2021 one. I think the 2021 one was improvement if I remember correctly. But now it's been 1, 2, 3 years of like nothing major has changed. So it's like 4 years. So basically, in that term, it would have been best to get the 2021 one because it was a major development. And then, but you didn't know at that time that then they weren't going to do another real cool one the next year. But turns out it's sort of flatlined. But then even Apple phones are sort of flatlined in terms of their features and that. Like they're not getting that much better anymore. Well, and not just Apple phones, just all phones really. Well, I don't know. I'm sure some companies are like what's it called? Well, the ones that are behind then can be like, wow, like we're catching up. Like what's it called? The phone, the ethical phone, they call it, not ethical zinc. Fair phone. Yeah. Well, but then I saw that their supplier was, I think, ZTE or one other one. Well, I'm not sure. There's two. I forget which one. Or it might have been like HTC or something. But it was like, I think, which is a Chinese company in that. And I'm like, if they made, yeah, it'd be cool if they made them in Holland or something. I was charged, or in America. I always charge it overnight. Has to be a decent alternative to GoPro. Well, you'd think so, but GoPro was the sort of the leader in the field for ages. Then there's like, I think, what's it called, like 360 is sort of doing well. I'm not sure if it's the same company that does mirroring 360 in that, but I think it's a Chinese company and it would almost definitely be made in China. But then so is GoPro, so yeah. But I mean, it's not essential for mobile gaming like competitively. Like it would be cool to, because then you could get some angles. Like I could live stream doing it, but then you either need like an expensive mobile plan, but then and I think even then it's sort of is limited to like 1.5 megabits after the first bit, or you just have to do it like in a mall or something, because otherwise then. Because you're either reliant on fixed Wi-Fi or you're not reliant on fixed Wi-Fi, in which case you're relying on cellular, which then in New Zealand, after you've used a certain amount, it goes to 1.5 megabits per second, which I don't know. Maybe it would work. Maybe it would work. Depends what sort of quality you want to stream in, maybe. But I don't know. But yeah, then I could have. But there currently is no mobile games out there that I'm interested in. First, you need the mobile game. But then I'd do the like I'd release videos on Rumble about it, which then wouldn't get that much traction. But if I could have like SuperSight Rumble in my name or something, or SuperSight Live. I'm not sure how to do it, because then you couldn't really do live streams of it like at your house. And it depends on how they set it out, because some of them you sort of can't really do anything without walking. Some of them you can do stuff without walking, but only some stuff. Like if you had a clan and all that kind of stuff, you could do that without walking. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be very hard. It'd be quite like complex. Like you'd have to think about a lot of things, like your device, your GoPro or filming device, and yeah, to try and like where you're gonna walk and all that. It's like, oh, this is actually a genuine challenge to sort of overcome and complex things to think about. Okay, so that was the. He's going to stream it in 2 parts. Been meaning to stream for a while. That was because the other game, Squad Busters, had an update, and they've since had another update. Trump expired in 2016. 2-time server, showed the announcements, done that. Yeah, just 2 months ago or so. It might have been 3 months. They said it was in development. They could have added new features to make it work. News articles, yep. Journalism. Oh, I've almost covered all these without even. Tribe Gaming showed you 2 parts, showed you. People care about politics in games. Bad thing, yeah. And this is just me reading my notes. I'm not saying people care about games. Bad thing. Like, no. I'm glad that there's people that are like, yo, chess is awesome. Oh yeah, Everdale. Yeah. So after that last stream where I said I stopped playing Squad Busters, then I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. So then I played it for a few days after, and then there was that update, and then I was like, oh, I should cover the update, but then I didn't, and I haven't played it for ages. And there's a lot of other things. Sanzo plus G-Craft. Oh yeah, they tried. Yeah, a second attempt to get rid of Trump. That guy at the rally at the golf course. And then there was the pages. The pages in Lebanon. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's all the things. That's all the things I'd want to go through, and I've showed you the articles. Should like look through the top few memes of the Everdale Discord server, Reddit server. Okay. Oh yeah, they posted it. Okay, so I will. Just check that. Exit that. And then I think all sort of nearing the end, I covered the topics and the all time. The village, yep. Still run out of soup. Yep. I can't even I don't even remember I remember there was soup at 3 meals or 5 minutes or PB Tech. I took the last task in the ship. You'll complete it soon, right? Yeah, it was like adding a limit, I think. Fan art. That's cool. That is cool. I didn't even remember some of these memes. Me when someone in my valley gets a little too much reputation. I don't think I ever saw that meme. That's so funny. That's so funny. That was the best system. Oh, it was just awesome. How people could just snipe, they just come in and then they just be like can't lead us vote. It was so good. There's genuinely a lot of support for it. I guess they're just looking at monetization stats. It's the only thing I can think of. Because, it was such a good game and so many people loved it. It's yeah. I mustn't have looked at these memes. I thought that, when I ended it, when it ended, I would have scrolled through these. But I think it's because I got banned off this Reddit. Was that this game? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. That looks really cool because that was hard work, and people really cared about this game. They did all the stats.
These are such good memes. These are good memes. Oh yeah, he got sniped. They got that guy. Controller boot. Symmetry. Huh. Where are the memes? It seems so simple, but yeah, then there's all the complexities of which ones you can upgrade. It was such a good game. Really? Someone sent me that format of meme just recently. That looks like that that other game, Infinite War and Trousers. Oh, the Rip Road. Oh yeah, the 5%, that was pretty rough. Oh, maths. Oh well, folks, that will wrap it up. A nice note to end on. Ailey, welcome to the stream. I don't get half the memes. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. Do it, man. It's not even a long stream. It felt like a really long stream, but it's because I haven't streamed in a while. Because yeah, when you get into it, like 8 hours, like feels short. Even the 12-hour one, after a 12 hours, so I'm like, do we have to stop? It's like, but the online's like, if you've been streaming for a while, it's like, my goodness, that took a while. It's like 2 hours. That's nothing compared to it. Okay, I'll get up the stats of the stream, and yeah, good to yeah. I think so. I think so. It was such a good game, and it's. I don't like. I almost don't like that they've put that detail in. Like we've returned the IP to Supercell. Like, what does that mean? Like, is it dead? Like, or was it like like otherwise then people will be like, it might be coming back. It's like I just want to know. Like I see. I'm taking it as it's gone. Oh yeah, Matt Walsh. Currently in the US is screening a documentary, sort of like that, called "Am I Racist?" So, heard it's. I think it looks real good from the trailer. I'd like to go see it, but it's not out in New Zealand. And I don't know if it will be. It might just go onto the online thing. He made that "What Is a Woman" a while ago, which was real cool. Got long streams for a while there. About to warm me out. Okay, so here are the statistics. Boom, boom. 70 viewers. We did actually. Yeah, we got to 9. That was good comparatively. There's so many channels that are just like gone. Yeah, compared to back in the day. So thank you to everyone who came by the stream. Thank you to Mama Tato Cindy. Thank you to Tisping Mike. Thank you to Lynn. Thank you to Greet.
Thank you to Matthew Moo 100. It's easy to spot them here. Thank you to Edvin Molar and to Zisso and to LA. Thank you for coming by the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Lynn, for moderating. Thankfully, nothing needed like moderate. Well, I mean, you're like monitoring it, but nothing needed removing. Thank you for the 8 likes. And thank you to Supercell and Metacore for the game Everdale, which was an awesome game, Valleys and Villages. I really enjoyed it, and so it's real sad it's been killed. I was really looking forward to it. It feels like the end of an era, because, yeah, it was like, I don't know, it's almost 2025, and when was the last good game Supercell released? I mean, I wasn't even a fan of Brawl Stars, but Brawl Stars was an impressive game, but that's still, as of 2025, if you're basing it on years, that's then 7 years ago. That's wild. And if you include, the 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 7 to 8 years ago, Brawl Stars was released. And that was like Supercell's last one that like worked. And then they've had games since, some were good, some were not so good, that have been killed. And except one, which isn't the one that they should have picked. So thank you to Supercell for the camera. Thank you to Restream.io for allowing me to stream on all the different platforms, and for the chat. Thank you to OBS for the free streaming software. Thank you to 24times.com for the time below. Yeah, I think that's most of it. Yeah, it was nice to come back and do the stream. I was gonna do the other game, but I won't. Not today. What's today? Saturday. I have a conference on in about 8 hours. So, yeah. And I didn't get up till about 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m. So my sleep schedule's way out. So I will get some sleep tonight, probably, but not that much. But yeah, I've been to a few conferences this year. This one is it's like there's going to be some medical people there. It's going to be at the James Hay Theatre. And it's about the government response to the COVID and the COVID vaccine, things like that. So, yeah, I'm interested. $120 New Zealand dollars, so yeah, not too cheap, but it's from 9 till 5 and includes lunch, and they've got some speakers that I respect, or who seem very worthwhile listening to, who will be there. So, yeah, I miss Everdale. It was a good game. I really did enjoy it. It was cool covering it. It was cool. It was so exciting. It was so cool having a whole group of you in the chat back in the day. Thank you for those of you who came by again today. I really did enjoy Everdale, and it will be missed. It will be missed. It was a great game. Really was. I don't know. It sort of feels like weird. Like kind of feels like I already said goodbye back 2 years ago, but then it's sort of like, then there's this, but then there's the IP has been returned. But I don't think that means anything. It could, but I don't think that means it's coming back. I don't think it means anything like in terms of it's coming back. Like, okay, sure, they might use one of the characters in Squad Busters. I hope they don't, but they could. Yeah, but it was a good game. It was a good run. We used to have that Excel chart. We used to have the Excel chart, and it was like all those Everdale leader. Oh, that was, I don't know exactly what. Oh, why is this a download or whatever? Man, this was back in 2021. But yeah, a few good farmers. Joshua, Waterflame, Justin, Ruminite, Duplex, Benny. I literally recognize them. Kyle's, Slobby, that name comes back now. Swarn.
I was Swarren from SuperSight Live. SuperSight Live from SuperSight. That was me. It was a good time. It was a good game. It will be very much missed. I so wish they would have done something cool with it. They would have re-released it and it had some awesome updates. But alas, Excel for the win. Thank you guys for being part of the stream. Thank you for those of you who are part of Everdale. That is Everdale. Hope you have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day. See you all next time. Good night, and God bless.